You know what the Cold War needed? Superheroes. Oh, um, well, I got nothing. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Tales Showcase, where if you don't conform to our rules, you're a godless, good-for-nothing coward commie. I'm your host, the Watcher of New Earth. Well, here we are, the end of November and the end of Animation Month. But before we start today, I'd like to take a moment to discuss why I chose today's subject material. Today's movie is based on DC The New Frontier, a comic that was written and drawn by comic legend Darwyn Cooke. Known for his distinct cartoony style, Cooke made a name for himself in the industry through various runs, variant covers, and his own projects. Unfortunately, Cooke passed away earlier this year after fighting a battle with lung cancer. His death came as a painful blow and shock to us all, and it'll be a while before the comic book industry is able to fully recover over losing such a revolutionary. And so, in honor of one man's legacy, today we'll be looking at Justice League, The New Frontier, and see just how much of the magic from the original comic came through. The movie opens with ominous narration, detailing a creature's evolution and its contempt for humanity's evolution to a cruel, hate-filled, warmongering species. Preaching to the choir. The book wraps up as the author, going by the center, swears to cleanse the world of humans. The author then reaches for a nearby gun and shoots himself. Jeez. I didn't think the book was that bad. The credits then begin to roll. It's the usual silhouette form that I like, but as a bonus, the figures are taken from the minimalist art from the comics. Very nice touch. We then meet up with the U.S. fighter pilots Ace Morgan and Hal Jordan at the end of the Korean War. Ace and Hal comment on the war's seemingly peaceful end as Hal expresses his desire to go into space. They're cut short, however, when they are attacked by Korean pilots who are unaware of the ceasefire. You all joke about social media now, but Twitter would have come in handy back then. Hal is shot down and falls into a Korean trench. A Korean soldier, who also hasn't heard about the war ending, engages Hal, leading to Hal having to kill him, which noticeably troubles him. We then cut to an observatory where a dying scientist is apologizing to Jean Jones. Apparently the scientist was attempting to send a signal to Mars, but accidentally teleported Jean to Earth. How does a communication signal become capable of teleportation? Damn science can't do anything right. We then cut again to Superman flying over Indochina. He reaches a celebration where corpses are burning outside. When he enters, he finds Wonder Woman celebrating the liberation of these native women after being locked up and used by the soldiers. Turns out that the women are the ones who murdered the soldiers outside. Superman is appalled, but Wonder Woman won't have it.
There's the door, spaceman.
Now that's just racist. We then get a really cute scene of Jean learning about humans through television. Almost like an infant. We then join back with Soups as he talks with Lois on the roof of the Daily Planet. It seemed like the superhero community is splintering with the rise of McCarthyism and fear of the unknown. Lois reassures him that they need Superman more than ever now, as a symbol of hope. I mean, sure, but in the Snyderverse he would have snapped McCarthy's neck by now. I don't usually promote this, but it's McCarthy. We cut to Las Vegas, where Iris West is conducting interviews. Taking a break from it, she decides to call Barry Allen back in Central City to let him know she misses him. They're cut short, though, as Captain Cold arrives and tells everyone to remain seated and the robbery will be over shortly.
The key phrase was, stay calm.
Wouldn't stay cool have worked better? Sensing that Iris is in danger, Barry springs into action. He engages Cold, but Cold warns him that there are cryogenic bombs hidden throughout the city. Barry quickly finds them all and is able to prevent Cold's escape. After he's captured, however, Cold's eyes dilate and his voice changes. Hal and Ace, now out of the military, are seen driving through the desert. Hal is feeling a little depressed as he sees his dream of space travel becoming less and less likely. Ace, however, is taking him in a Ferris Air, where he hopes Hal gets a second chance. Hal is hired and even hits it off with his new employer, Carol Ferris. Meanwhile, Jean, after being influenced by TV, has decided to become a detective for the Gotham PD. On one of his cases, he runs across a cult that is being attacked by none other than the Batman. Jean moves in to help, but is frozen in fear when the church they were in catches fire. Batman is able to stop the culprit, but the boy he was saving, which the cult wanted to sacrifice to the center, begins crying when Batman nears him. This surprises Batman. What did you think was going to happen? You're all about striking fear into people. Batman leaves Jean and his partner to tend to the child. The leader of the cult then speaks in the same voice as the narrator from the beginning and Captain Cold after his battle with the Flash. This leaves Jean wondering what the center is. Hal, meanwhile, is undergoing extensive training at Ferris Air, supervised by Rick Flag Sr. Hal is excelling at the training, but quickly tires of it, as what he wants to do is go into space. He is given the chance when it's revealed that all this time Ferris has been working on a space program for the government with Flagg and another official named Faraday, all with the explicit purpose of going to Mars. Jean arrives at home and is startled to find Batman there. Batman tells him that they need to work together to stop the center. Before leaving, Batman gives Jean an ultimatum.
And one other thing. I'm not sure what you are or where you come from, but my instincts tell me you're to be trusted. Make no mistake, though. I have a $70,000 sliver of radioactive meteor to stop the one from Metropolis. With you, all I need is a penny for a book of matches.
Because casually issuing death threats is okay. We cut back to Central City, where the Flash engages Gorilla Grodd. However, Grodd turns out to be a robot, and the whole thing was a setup to capture Barry. He, however, manages to vibrate his molecules and escape capture, to the surprise of everyone. I mean, did you really think you could capture a speedster that easily? Back at the GCPD, Jean continues to research the center, but is called in to interrogate a man who claims to be a scientist. He reveals that he knows about the center and the government's plan to go to Mars. Before Jean can get any more out of him, Faraday arrives and takes the scientist away. However, Jean shakes Faraday's hand and becomes aware of the Mars mission. No longer stuck here and becoming disenfranchised with humanity, Jean decides to sneak onto the Mars shuttle, which is being piloted by Hal and Rick Flagg. However, Jean chooses to take his sweet time and is stopped by Faraday. The rocket launches and Jean opts to save Faraday, leading to his capture. However, now nearing orbit, a problem occurs with the shuttle. Hal says he can fly back, but Flagg reveals that there are weapons on the ship and they can't risk it. They begin to struggle as Flagg attempts to destroy the shuttle. Hal is sent flying into space only to be rescued by Superman. Flagg, on the other hand, successfully detonates the rocket. Wait. Are you telling me that you had access to Superman, and you didn't tell him to bring the shuttle back down? Do you enjoy wasting money? Hal's returned safely, but Jean is kept prisoner at the base. We finally rejoin Diana on Paradise Island during a sparring session, but it is cut short as a giant shadow looms over them. Hal is then taken by a green energy into the desert where he meets Abin Sur, the Green Lantern. Abin Sur tells him he is to inherit the responsibility of the Lantern. Hal is reluctant, saying that many people see him as a coward for not killing anyone in Korea, save for that one instance in the trench. Abin insists and Hal takes the ring. Back in the Batcave, it's shown that Batman has adopted a look more akin to his Silver Age days and gotten himself a sidekick with the excuse that he set out to frighten criminals, not children. Sure, but if you go full Silver Age, you're not going to be frightening anyone. Superman and Batman are meeting up to discuss the center, but they are cut short when a sudden attack breaks out in Florida by what appears to be a dinosaur. But of course. Supes engages the beast and quickly brings it down. Diana arrives soon after, greatly wounded. As Superman tends to her, she says that it's coming. Meanwhile, Jean and Faraday bond over chess. Faraday gets word of the crisis occurring in Florida and decides to bring Jean, who has shown to be trustworthy. Hal also hears about the crisis from a newscast. Same goes for Barry Allen, who decides that his help may be needed. Hal makes it back to Ferris and quickly decides he needs to help too. Once Barry arrives, it seems like the soldiers there still don't trust the costume heroes that arrive to help. However, Superman arrives and sets them all straight.
I see I have your attention. We face a threat big enough to wipe us off the earth, and still we bicker about a mask or a uniform. My best friend is lying upstairs right now. She would have given her life for this country, and I could hardly look her in the eye. America was founded on the notion that a person should be free to follow his or her destiny. But we can't do that if we're living in fear of our own government. We need to reclaim this country for free men and women everywhere.
And that is why Superman's a boss. Having now rallied the group together, Superman flies out to scope the target. He is quickly shot down and falls into the ocean. Well, that nice feeling didn't last. While the nation mourns the fallen hero, the remaining team decides to come up with a plan. Batman arrives with the device created by Ray Palmer, which is able to shrink things. The catch is that whatever shrinks explodes. Batman plans to use it on the center, claiming that Barry is fast enough to cover the whole thing with the ray. The others resolve to keep the center busy in order to buy Barry some time. The next day they all spring into action, with many of the heroes and soldiers engaging the swarms of dinosaurs that the center is releasing, while Hal Jordan and Ace Morgan enter the being to cause some damage from the inside. Hal and Ace face almost certain death. When everything seems lost, the power ring activates and allows Hal to not only rescue himself, but also Ace. On the outside, Barry has succeeded in spreading the rail across the center. Despite the impending explosion, the center continues to near the shore. Before it can destroy them, Hal envelops it with the ring and takes it to space, where it explodes harmlessly. The threat neutralized, everyone begins to celebrate, when suddenly something rises from the water. It's revealed to be Aquaman, who rescued Superman after his battle. And thus began Aquaman's trend of making cool entrances, but being ultimately pointless. See you again when Snyder shows up! And the movie ends with some awesome art playing over a badass Kennedy speech. And that was Justice League, The New Frontier. It was pretty damn awesome. Does it cut corners from the comic? Yes. Is it as good as the comic? No. Did it still manage to capture the spirit and heart of the original work? You bet your ass it does. Despite the omissions, the story is still very much intact, and the animation style does a pretty good job of adapting Cooke's gorgeous artwork. Overall, this movie's a win. Well, that was fun. But like the month itself, Animation Month has come to an end. Next time, we go back to looking at comics, starting off December with our Holly Jolly God Butcher. As always, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. This is the Watcher of New Earth, signing off.